wish that you were better.
I think we're live, Mr. Kendall.
Hey, let's go.
Let's go. We're live. We're officially live. Only a few minutes of technical difficulties. You know how it is in 2021. We're supposed to go to the Mars and fucking Pluto, but we can't have Wi-Fi in Colombia. Kendall.
Oh, that's why your Wi-Fi sucks. It makes sense.
Yeah, a little bit. How we doing, bro? How's your week so far?
Man, it's been a great week. Just walking in some deals, trying to scale. So that's the gist of it. I'm excited to drop some value for the people if they have questions and kind of go over my story since joining 7FA about a year ago, actually.
Yes. And we're gonna dive into that. If you guys don't know, Kendall is the reason Tampa won the Super Bowl. I think as soon as he moved there, Tom Brady was like, I got to get my ass over there. Kendall's there. We got to make it happen. And we won the Super Bowl. So Kendall, shout out to you for bringing Tampa a championship. But dude, I always like to start, because obviously it's kind of funny because you feel like, in a sense, you probably feel like you're just getting started, right?
Yeah.
And the journey is just beginning. And but take it back a couple years ago, because a couple years ago this wasn't the case, and you were just getting started. So how did you get into this digital marketing space? And let's start from
That's a good place to start. So I'm 21 for anyone who's in the channel, and I started digital marketing when I was like 13 or 14 in middle school. Yep. So I got into like influencer marketing and stuff when I was very young. And then Ty Lopez released his SMMA course when I was like 15 or 16.
Yep, I remember this.
So once that happened, I kind of just dived deep into like digital marketing. I was like, oh my gosh, like you can make $1,000 a month, like selling businesses on ads. So I got into SMMA when I was about 16. And, I was closing some deals when I was 16, right? So closed some deals, but I did not know how to run ads at all. So that's kind of what got me. And I was like, okay, how do I run Facebook ads? Didn't know how. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to dive deep into e-commerce and Shopify dropshipping. Shopify dropshipping was really trendy around like 2017, 2018. It was like trending a lot. So I was like, what? Let me dive deep into e-commerce. And at my high school, I played like lacrosse and a ton of AP classes. And I got to take this class in high school where I could study any subject, right? So I studied dropshipping for a whole year, like in school. So I studied advertising, ads, got into that. And that really helped me really learn about advertising. This was like 2017. And then in 2018, I got to intern at like a 8-figure SEO agency. So it was like an internship class in high school.
Damn.
So, hell yeah. I was like, let's do it. So I got into that. And then basically I had like my first 40K a month when I was 18 in revenue, selling like a t-shirt basically.
Wow.
So then after that, I was like, there's no way I'm going to college. Like I need to go all in drop shipping and commerce. So I had a lacrosse scholarship to the University of Tampa. I live in Tampa, Florida now. So I went to school for like 7 weeks and then I dropped out. I was just selling a Travis Scott dad hat and I was doing like a couple $100 a day in profit. So I dropped out and then I scaled another marketing company called Digitalism. I scaled that to about 60K a month when I was 19 and left that business because there's no systems or anything. And then that brought me to basically the end of 2019. So end of 2019, I would basically started my agency called Maybach Media and just bounced around niches trying to learn. And fast forward to April, I joined 7FA. Joined 7FA in April, biggest investment in some of my life, actually. And then basically in April, we took my agent. After that, I spent like probably a month and a half just deep diving and trying to learn as much as possible, going through the content. And then I took my agency from I think like 20, 30K, like not even that, probably like 15, 20K a month. I scaled to 100K a month in like 3 months. So, and that was from April to August. Not April, August, May to August. So June, July, in 3 months after joining 7FA.
That's wild.
Our business, basically, long story short, from there, we didn't have the systems in place. So obviously, as you guys know, systems are everything to scaling. So
yes. And
then now, fast forward to, I guess that was last year. Fast forward to now, it's been about a year. We're doing way more than 100K a month, and it's been a blessing. We have over 20 team members at our company, so able to impact 20 people, and we have over 50 customers. So over 50 clients. It's been a blessing, and just excited to give value and tell my story and see how we can help.
Yes. That was great. But we went from 0 to 100 really quick. Like going back, dude, because were you always entrepreneurial? Like even in high school, like you were selling like things on the side. So this was coming. This was a long time coming.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was like an entrepreneur, like my dad really was an entrepreneur. He worked in corporate America. So he worked for Disney and like some other big companies. So like growing up, that was just the environment I was in. My parents definitely wanted me to go to college and get a degree.
Yes.
I just always was like really entrepreneurial. Like I was like reselling shoes when I was younger and just all these other things. But I knew I always wanted to run my own business, regardless of the risk. And my parents gave me an environment to do that, you know? So I'm really thankful for being in that environment.
That's amazing. So you got into with Ty Lopez's thing, and then you started like an ecom brand selling hats and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What made you? Okay, it's drop shipping. What made you not want to go all in 100% and doing that and just scaling that? Like, why start an agency?
Right. Yeah, that's a really good question. The reason why I started an ecom agency is because I just really love scaling brands. Like one of our biggest clients, we took from 500,000 to 5 million in revenue. And that was my first client at my agency, at Maybach Media, which is no longer, that was our old agency name. It's now called Scalable. That's my name of my agency, Scalable. I just loved scaling that brand. You know, it was such an amazing experience to see the growth that a business can have from your services. And like also like a capital standpoint, like I needed capital to build my own brands. And like, having a service-based business is like it's a really steady way to like know I'm always going to get paid regardless. As long as my clients are making money, I'm always going to get paid.
Sure.
And with e-commerce, there's no guarantee in drop shipping or e-commerce, right? So that's kind of why I got into that space. To build an agency. And then I actually had a client of ours, because I have a couple brands on the side, not on the side, but I do have like 2 or 3 brands. A client of ours actually partnered up with, and then we scaled our brand pretty much. So that's kind of like how I got into it pretty much.
So you wanted more of the agency to be the cash flow and then use that as eventually to build your own brand. I'm assuming one of your goals is to start like a Shopify store, and if you're not already doing that, right? I know, I think I saw Robert like just launching something. So
yeah, so we have our own brands. We have our own brands in house. I actually have a company that's completely unrelated from the agency that we just build dropshipping stores for investors, but that's a whole nother conversation. My goal definitely is also the agency is like the people and processes, right? Because when I start my brand, like my team's going to be able to run the brand. They're going to be motivated because they'll get bonuses and rev shares. So I really wanted to build the infrastructure to scale a business. You know, that's why I feel like whatever niche you're in, like if you're in a niche, like if I was in local lead gen, right? My goal wouldn't be just to, scale up my agency. It'd be to eventually like, why not own one of your businesses or buy into a business that's in your niche? Just because as marketers, like our skills are so valuable, right? But like, it's only valuable how much you can apply it, right?
Correct. That's huge. So like, you and I both know e-com right now is probably the most saturated niche to go after when it comes to digital marketing. If you had to restart today, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently than when you first started like 2 years ago, or, when you joined 7FA?
Ooh, that's a good question. If I didn't join F7FA or if I had to restart?
If you had to restart knowing what you know now, like, because e-com right now is by far the most saturated niche, right? For a reason. It's probably a good niche to go into, but it's also really, really difficult because everybody has these crazy guarantees, ROA, 5X, ROAS, and all that stuff. So knowing what you know now, like what would you do differently when you first started?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, knowing what I know now, that's a really good question. If I was to start over again, what I would most likely do is, that's a good question. I don't know. I would really focus on,
a lot.
Yeah, I don't think I would do anything differently. I mean, I'd probably just, I don't know. I would say, as weird as it sounds, like get in 7FA sooner. Like when I joined 7FA, like, the process, like you guys made it really easy to like understand how to scale an agency. So I just would want to learn how to really like focus more on fulfillment, I guess, because like our biggest bottleneck wasn't closing deals. Like closing deals is easy for us because we have a lot of social proof. Like that's solidified.
Maybe we lost you there for a second.
Okay, cool.
There we go.
Yeah, so once that's solidified, just focusing on building the team and fulfillment earlier, I would say, like as like an executive, like it's important to like, you don't want to run your agency all yourself, right? Because then like you're never going to be able to scale. So focusing on like building systems and processes, and like, also I would say one thing, if I was to go back in time, I'm reading this really good book right now that I recommend everyone to read. It's by Patrick Bet-David. It's called Your Next 5 Moves. So something that like I don't see many people in the digital marketing space talk about is like business strategy, right? It's like not like it's not a sexy topic, like talking about strategy, but I would really, if I was to go back in time, I would like focus on my financials more, and then focus on learning more about business strategy, like figuring out how to best strategize, like, and like plan my moves ahead of time.
Sure. So that's interesting. If like, okay, so let's put yourself back in 2 to 3 years ago when you first started a marketing agency and you have no money to spend on ads. How hard, what's your advice for people that don't have money to spend on ads, but they're going after ecom? Because, you know, with Cairo, Dental, all these, you can just call them. But with ecom brands, it's kind of hard. I tell people like, this is the one niche out of all of them that if you don't have money to spend on ads, it's probably not the best niche to go after, but it's possible, right? Do you recommend doing cold email? Do you recommend doing like going Facebook groups, LinkedIn? Like, what would your advice for people?
I would do quality over quantity. Like, we close probably about 2 clients a week from cold email and cold outreach, but it's not like we have like, it's all about like the offer and like what you're offering. So like when I started my ecom agency, I was selling my services at like $750, $100,000 a month, guys. This was a year ago, right? Like our biggest client, we closed like $1,500 a month. And now they're like, that we pay them, they're paying $1,500 a month. Now they're paying like $20K a month, right? That was like a year ago. But it's like really understanding like where you're at and like the process. Like if I knew like I was just starting, like I would undercharge, honestly, just to get case studies, get results, and getting like a media buyer as well. Because if you get a media buyer, you can leverage their case studies on your demo presentation, leverage their case studies. So I basically got a bunch of media buyers and then put all their case studies into decks. And I use that as like my marketing collateral when I didn't have results.
So you mean pretty much like white label companies, right? Oh, I think we lost you there for a second. I don't know if you're.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you can white label pretty much, but like I don't recommend white label in the ecom space. So my best advice would be to like really invest in yourself. Make sure you have capital. Like if you don't have money to spend on ads, like get a job. Like, you know, like I had a job at one point, right? Yeah. It's very straightforward.
Yeah.
So basically invest in yourself, invest in your knowledge, and then really try and like personalized outreach does really well. Like we basically, when we do outreach, like when we do our cold email, like this is our whole cold email process, free game, right? Literally when we send the email out, we have the VA send the email. If they respond, then we do a personalized Loom video to them when they respond, right? So we basically say, hey, like here's like, pull up their ad library and see like what they're doing, like what their ads are, and like critique their ads pretty much, and then say, hey, book a call, right? That, and then also like strategic partnerships are like really everything. Like that's how we grew our agency initially, is like we had people that like I went to reach out to agencies that, well, I have a personal brand. That's something also I really recommend. Like I was building my personal brand when I was 16, guys, right? Like Gary Vee, he's a beast. I document everything I do. Like I don't post, like I haven't shot YouTube videos in years. I just literally just document, like if I get ad results for my clients, post it on my Instagram story, right? I just have been doing that for years because I don't have time right now to like make like all that extra content, not yet at least, but like build your personal brand, because founders like buying from other founders, right? They're not buying the agency, they're buying the founder of the business at the end of the day, until you get to a point where like your agency is really big. So I would say personalized outreach, build your personal brand, and then like find strategic partnerships. Like I would reach out to other agencies and see if they have like potential ecom clients, and then like undercharge and over deliver, right? Like that's what you should be doing when you're trying to get to 10K a month. Like don't focus on how much you're closing a deal for. Focus on, because like in the ecom space, like the reason why it's so sexy is people think like you can get rev shares, right? Which you can't, but you want to make sure you have like right systems in place to like track that and do that. So like my best advice would be focus on undercharging, over delivering, and figuring out like your client acquisition system. So cold email, cold DM. We haven't even tapped into LinkedIn that much, but I know LinkedIn's a gold mine for ecom. And then building your personal brand, and then reach out to people that like potentially like if you don't have clients, like reach out to some brands and say, hey, like I'll run your ads for free and then charge them a rev share, right? Just to get those case studies in. We actually did that on cold email, and like this, this is not lying, but we did it on cold email. We were saying, hey, we'll run your ads for free for 30 days. And then we ended up closing the people. Like we actually didn't run their ads for free, right? But that's one thing 7FA teaches you guys, like really how to make a sexy offer, right? And just being different. I feel like not many people are willing to innovate, and like that's why like we've grown so fast, because like even like if you just copy what everyone else does, or you just follow like what every course says, and you don't, like Joel says this all the time, like innovate on what he teaches, right? Like no one's going to do it for you. You have to be willing to like innovate and test new things. So that's really what my best advice would be.
Dude, that's huge. That's huge. So like, do you think when you say personalized messages, do you feel like people should send like videos of themselves and just building rapport rather than just blasting out the same email and the same thing for thousands and thousands of, because people are buying lists, right, of e-com buyers, and they're just blasting the same message over and over again. So you recommend just personalizing it and just getting your first few clients either for cheap or for free, especially in e-com?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing blasts and stuff, just because like it's all about quality over quantity in this e-com space, right? Like if you have like especially when you're trying to start, like getting 0 to 10, like going from 0 to 10 is a lot harder from going to 10 to 20, right? So like when you're trying to start, like if you go, like for example, if I was just starting off, like I would send 20 to 25 personalized Loom videos a day, right? Because if you're bad at sales, right, you got to be comfortable on camera, right? Like the same way I'm talking to Amir, I'm good at flowing and I'm good at talking, like that's just a skill that you need. Because like, for example, if you're trying to sell me, if I have a brand, if I have an agency, if I have a brand, like a brand owner is going to have a lot of questions, right? So like you need to be able to like be confident in your sales skills.
Yeah.
And sending Loom videos, like if you're sending a message to someone critiquing them what they're doing, it's definitely going to be a very good way to get results. So the easy way to do that is just go on Instagram. Go on Instagram and basically call them, like not call them, but like find whatever the founder is and do some research.
That's huge, bro. So like when you say find a media buyer, I feel like that's pretty broad. Like how did you find your media buyers? Do you like go on Facebook groups? Do you because you said something pretty interesting, because when you said I go find a media buyer instead of and use their testimonials,
right?
That's probably better than doing that with white labelers. But why would an experienced good media buyer work with a brand new agency? Like how do you find this media buyer if you're
they want to get paid, I mean, I found my first 2 media buyers I found from Facebook groups, and I had them send me like a Loom recording of like what they were doing, right? Like their ad accounts. And like initially I was paying them like per client. Now we pay like full time, like 4 to 5K a month plus bonuses, right? So why would they do that? Because most people are just freelancing, right? Like I was doing that too myself at one point. And yeah, like they was looking for income, Facebook groups work really well, and once you scale up, you can get recruiters and stuff. And that's why building your personal brand is so important. Like you need to schedule, you need to build like your brand,
So you would focus on building a brand as well, especially when it comes to e-com, because that's what resonates to the buyer, right? With Cairo, I mean, you can build a brand, but I think with e-com, they're looking for brands. They're looking to see, hey, let me see how this guy brands himself before I even want to work with him. What do you feel like
you have to, like, if you can't brand yourself, how are they going to expect you grow their own brand?
100%. What do you feel like is one of the biggest challenges that people don't foresee when it comes to scaling an e-com agency that you didn't even know looking at it now when you were like first starting, like when you were doing 10K, 20K a month?
That's a good question. Overhead and financials and like KPI tracking. Like that's like something we still struggle with, like knowing your KPIs, managing a team, right? Like, of course, people are able to give you information and coach you on it, but there's managing your own team. There's no blueprint to do that. It's like how to build an actual company,
Yeah.
So that was like the biggest challenge, and like building the systems and processes to like really scale. That's why that's why we actually merge agencies, because my partner Robert, and then we met Robert through 7FA, right? Great. He's really good at systems and processes, and that's something that like I'm good at, but that's not my strength. And yeah, like mastering fulfillment, like e-commerce is always changing, right? Fulfillment's always changing. Things are always changing. So like
making sure that like, like what's going on in the ecom space and staying up to date. And that's why my recommendation would be is like, if you're just starting off, like maybe just be a media buyer for a little bit. Like, and your first clients might be agencies. Like if you don't know how to run ads in e-commerce, it's gonna be very hard to grow your business because like just to be blunt, like you're competing with people like me or Jared or people who are like killing it, but they also, they're investing always to learn how to run ads. So like, it's like the same thing if you're in the local lead gen niche. Like if you don't know how to get fulfillment and you just use a white labeler, it's gonna be hard to continually scale time over and over and over and over.
And we say this all the time, like it's even better to start out if you don't know how to sell and you're more likely to sell, maybe you should start as a salesperson. If you're okay with ads and you're not really good at sales, maybe you start as a media buyer. I agree 100%. I think too many people jump into becoming an entrepreneur way too soon and they struggle. It's like a huge struggle in this industry. I know we have about 10 minutes left, Kendall. I don't want to take too much. I don't want to take the whole hour. My next question to you, like,
does anyone have questions in the chat?
There is. I'm going to get through my questions and then I'm going to hit Colton, Frank, and Dove Love. So as you're scaling this, like, what do you foresee being a huge challenge to people that are like starting out today? Like if they were starting out today or they just got started, what are like some of the challenges arising like this year that people are not understanding? Right. For instance, one of them is like the Facebook
iOS 14.
Apple thing. Yeah, the iOS 14 shit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really just learning how to like have a dialed in system process for running ads. Like, that's like the biggest thing, honestly, like having a consistent process, to get results. I would say that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing. Colton asked, like, what's more important? Is it to hire an account manager or a media buyer first?
A media buyer. You don't need an account manager until you're overwhelmed with like results. Like you're overwhelmed. Like I would say once you're at 10K, like once you're at like 10 to 15K a month, like we didn't even hire an account manager until like 15 clients, I would say, because that's like a good, your first account manager, most likely, like our first account manager is our operations manager now, right? She's making a 6-figure salary, right? Because you have to have like, that's also something that like you might struggle, like making sure like focus on not only building your agency, but also learning how to build a company, right? Like culture, like we talked about this at the Inner Circle event too, like culture and processes and like how people are going to grow.
Yeah.
As well.
I love that. Frank Santana asked, would you recommend e-commerce for a first niche or would you suggest local business first? It's a good question.
It just depends on who you are as a person. Like the reason why I got into ecom is because I do e-commerce, right? So I tried local business and excuse my French, I hated it because I tried real estate, I closed realtors, it just wasn't for me. So it depends on who you are and like also like your personal financial situation. Cause like for e-commerce, like if you just want to scale quickly, like, you have to have the right expectations. Like it's going to be easy. Scaling a lead gen agency is easier than scaling an e-com agency because
100%.
I have equity in a lead gen agency that's in a 7FA. I'm not going to say who, but I have a lead gen agency too. And it's going to be a lot easier to scale because the fulfillment is like on autopilot. It's like you can innovate. But whereas e-commerce, like, if my client's ads aren't doing well, then like the client might leave, which is the same. But on the upside, if your clients do well, you can have rev shares, right, in your contracts, and then you can benefit greatly. Like you're not gonna be able to make 20, 30K from a local lead gen client, right? But there's gonna be way more work that's gonna go into it. So my advice would be really just do both initially. Like I know 7FA is really big on finding a niche. So like when you're just starting, like, and this is what I did when I was an entrepreneur, like I tested a bunch of different niches to see what I really liked and like what I didn't like. And then I figured out, I honestly, it's funny, I was talking to, who closed me in 7FA? I was talking to Temple and I was like, oh, like, I don't know if I can do ecom, blah, 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 blah. And Joel was like, nah, you can do that. So I was like, all right, I tried it. And like, it was definitely hard, but it was well worth it. And I'm so glad I honestly just went all in on the agency.
Yeah, Frank, I'll pitch into this as well. Like you got to identify who you are and who you want to work with. So for me, like I know nothing about ecom. So if I was to start an agency today, I would have to learn all the ecom stuff, the media buying, like understand the business. Where with chiropractic, I felt like it was a way easier for me to learn because I actually already like chiropractic and I've been to a chiropractor and it was a lot easier for me to learn because I felt like I was already involved in it, even though there was a learning process. So identify who you are, and then in the end of the day, like Min just commented, pick your heart because all of them are going to be hard. Dove Love asks, are your services a particular niche in ecom or various brands?
No, it's in any niche. I mean, we have a lot of niches that we've worked with in ecom, right? Because our agency, we work with ecom and courses, right? We don't advertise to get course clients or info product clients. We just do,
You have
right?
them?
Robert used to
Yeah.
work for Grant. Yeah, Robert used to work for Grant Cardone, right? So we know how to run courses.
Hmm.
We're gonna start, dialing in our messaging more. Like we have a lot of apparel brands, a lot of beauty and fashion, like beauty and cosmetics brands that we've gotten really good results for. So
Okay.
yeah. And I wouldn't recommend like niching down initially too, because the service delivery is the same,
It's just sales, right? If you're
Yeah.
able to provide sales in beauty, you'll probably get sales in clothing and eyelashes and all that stuff. Jordan Hughes asks, how do you handle people not turning up to meetings? What's your process when it comes to no shows? And I know obviously you have shout out to Anthony, he's your salesperson. So what do y'all's
Yeah.
process when it comes to
I mean, it depends. Like if they like we can tell, you can tell if they're gonna no show or not. Like it's all about the front end sales process too. Like I'm not gonna be arrogant, but like we have one. Our funnel is one of the best agency space funnels in the game. Period.
yes.
Period. So like we
Yeah.
try and do a lot of front end, like making your front end process so good with like just testimonials, results, case studies, and then just be like making sure you confirm your appointments. If you don't confirm your appointments, then like it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
And then from there, just if they no show, just follow up. Like the money's in the follow up, guys. You got it. If you don't follow up, like then it's gonna be very hard.
100%. And that's a huge thing that we're working on right now, Jordan, within 7FA is how to help our clients as well as ourselves nurture the leads. So before they book a call, I want them to feel like they're already a part of the family. They're already part of 7FA. They're already part of the agency. And a lot of people all you're doing is you have a funnel and people are booking a call. That's it. And then you're expecting people to show up where it's not a priority. So when they book with Kendall, they're seeing all these testimonials. They feel like they're part of this company. They're not missing the call. So I'm assuming Kendall probably doesn't have a lot of no-shows because they have an amazing nurture system. Their funnel's on point. They have an amazing offer. And of course, a lot of testimonials. Cool. Last few minutes here, Kendall. Tanner asks, what do you think about getting seller leads for real estate agents? Should I work without showing them my business manager since a couple clients stole my ads, or should I always work from my business manager?
Seller leads for agents. I mean, I think it's cool, like
yes.
I definitely know like people, like it just comes down to, like I said, again, like there's millions in every niche, right? We're in the business to business space. You just got to like find your niche. And like, I prefer to go after businesses that have money. So like, for example, the local lead gen agency that I have equity in is in the solar niche, right? People who are in solar, they have money, right? Realtors, like their ROI is not as high. Like it takes them a lot of money to make like bare minimum.
Yeah.
So like if I was going to go in real estate, like a niche that we tested out that we just didn't decide to go into is real estate seller, like real estate investors, right? Because if they get one house, they can sell. If they close one deal from your ads, they can make like, you charge like 3K a month or 2K a month, wherever the money is. They close one deal, they can make 4 to 5x your ROI. Like it's all about the ROI that they can make from your services.
Yes.
And one thing, guys, I have something, guys, I know Omir and the team and Joel, the team at 7FA, they changed my life, guys. I don't know if Joel runs an ad of my testimonial, but I gave them a great testimonial. They changed my life. And I would not sit here in my busiest day of the week to spend time talking about my story if I did not care so much about what they're doing and they're really helping people's lives. And I know they have a crazy offer. I have no idea what it is, but I highly, highly, highly recommend it. If there was a crazy offer when I joined, then I definitely would have taken on it. And I saw Joel's ads for months before I got into 7FA. So I finally took that leap of faith. And then, the community that they have has just the community alone, like is worth the investment. Like just because I met two partners and I own 2 companies now that have grown so much just from the people I've met in that community. So highly recommend it. And, I'm definitely, if anyone has any questions, you guys can always message me, and I look forward to seeing people more people join the ecom space. It's a great niche. And if you guys ever want to, learn how to run ads for the ecom space, we do have a coaching program. So more than happy to help. I know we've had some people join that, and yeah.
Yeah, guys, I know Kendall asked me yesterday to cut this a little short because this is literally the busiest time of his day. So I've been begging him to do this for the last couple of weeks. So Kendall, I really, really appreciate your time. Look, this shit is hard, right? Like Min said, pick your hard. No matter what, we're here to support you. We are running a crazy, crazy offer. I know some people know about it, but most people don't even know what it is. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message, and I'll connect you with some of my sales guys and whatnot. Kendall, again, I really can't thank you enough, bro. We're doing another event pretty soon. I think we're looking at Puerto Rico or another place, so I know that's going to be probably the next destination. You had a good time in Mexico, right?
Dude, Inner Circle Masterminds was amazing, guys. I loved it. It was a blast.
Yeah.
And definitely recommend joining if you're not in already.
Yes, I love it. Kendall, really, really appreciate your time, my friend. I'm sure we're going to have another ones of these in the future once you're at $1 million a month. And then we'll go from there, dude. So go crush the rest of your day, bro. I appreciate your time, man. And we'll talk really soon, okay?
All right. Take care, guys.
All right, bye-bye.